I'm Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. TAS, and welcome to this edition of Talk with TAS. I always like to bring this guest on. That is the remarkable Felicia Brookins. Felicia is the author of the Ways trilogy, and she just released the third book. The first book was, I think I said that correct. The first book was Sister Nadine's Ways, and God knows I know Nadine. The second one was The Reprobate Ways, The Unveiling of Anne. And her latest book is Josie's Ways of Grace. Well, Felicia, again, thank you for being back with me.
Thank
Your
you.
work bridges storytelling and healing in such a powerful way. What inspired you to channel your own experiences and intergenerational trauma into the fictional trilogy and then the stage production?
That would probably have to be my love for reading and writing. Even in high school, I wrote. I had a journal. I also had a little diary. I remember that diary so well. It was a blue diary. And so because I couldn't express my hurt, pain, and feelings to any adults, because, back then in the day, you weren't allowed to do that. So I had to write it in a diary. And so for me, that helped me to be able to get through all the things that I experienced. So for me, I would say the main thing is that a diary, writing out my feelings and remembering what it felt like to go back and read that years later and see all that I had come through. All because I made a decision to stay. That's what I always say, because I made a decision to stay. And so that is what made me feel that, hey, I can take fiction and some of my own personal life experiences and put them into a book and into a series. Because once I wrote the first book, the way that I ended it, I had no choice but to take it full circle with the kids that were involved in the story.
I like, Felicia, that you said that you started out writing and you didn't have a voice, because you're right. In back in those days, we couldn't vocalize what we were experiencing. Children are to be seen and not heard, and they meant that. And so to know that you were able to write the first book, and as you said, it had to end the way that it ended, but then knowing that you were going to go back at some point and write from the perspective of those children. Because when we talk about generational curses, they don't occur just when you're an adult. They happen to you as you're growing up and becoming that individual. And that's so important. Now, your stage play, The Brownie, is now part of a theater and therapy initiative. Can you
Yes.
walk us through how this unique approach is creating a safe space for teens to open up emotionally?
Yes. Well, first of all, of course, it's called Safe Space, which is a name that says this is the place where you as teens can come and talk about the things that you feel, the thoughts that are going on in your head, your emotional, mental struggles. And you can do so without fingers being pointed at you, without stigma or biases or a backlash. And so theater provides that same thing. Theater provides that youth or that teen an opportunity to write out their feelings, because they can do the skit themselves, and then they can be a part of bringing that skit to life on the stage, and in doing so tell what they think and feel without people even really knowing whether or not it's them. And so it doesn't expose them or open them up to any harsh words, any criticism. It gives them confidence, because it's something new. It makes them where they are heard and can say what they feel. Sometimes even writing it themselves, letting other people completely act it out and step back and see it themselves. And so theater is that safe space, that opportunity of expression for youth, well, again, without them having to deal with some type of backlash, finger pointing, or somebody putting them down because they're saying, I'm not okay. And this is what I'm really feeling and thinking.
Well, I love that idea, Felicia, because it's like they're using theater as the mechanism or the modem, but it's a way for them to balance out their artistic expression as well as, in a sense, advocate for themselves or others who may have experienced similar trauma.
Yes.
And I think that's a unique way for them to be able to vocalize their mission. They may not even realize it's a mission yet, but to vocalize their truth.
Right. And it does so again safely, because if you could write this and put it together and not even put your name on it, but have other individuals to act it out. And it allows you to sit back and see yourself. It's almost like looking in a mirror for you to see it. It's one thing to go through it, but when you can step back and just look at it and say, wow. And again, a lot of times see just how much you've already gone through, that you're a lot stronger than you thought you were. And guess what? You are creative, because you look at that and say, I did that. I wrote that. And so it helps with the confidence, and encourages them and motivates them. And it can also create a circle or family of closeness for them. Maybe it's somebody maybe that's being bullied at school, doesn't feel like they have any friends or that they're like with anyone. Well, then you have these cast members that come together. And these cast members become your friends and your family because you all spend time together. And so now all of a sudden, I do have a group that connects with me and understands me. And maybe I now do have a group of friends because now I have something in common with someone else.
And that's so powerful because, sometimes we feel like we're the only person who's going through something. And the people that we're sitting having lunch with, they're going through something similar or have gone through something totally different, but it's weighing on them. But we don't see that other people are also struggling. And I like the fact that you're building a sense of community, that support network, because we're now actors, and it doesn't matter whose story we're acting out. We get to know each other, we support each other, we cheer each other on. And so therefore we're there for each other in our time of need. And I think that's so important, particularly in this age of bullying. That's, I think about when I was bullied as a child, well, and even as an adult, but now it's like cyberbullying is so rampant, and it does damage in a totally different way.
Right. Because at the school, when we were growing up, what went on at school pretty much stayed at school, unless you live in the neighborhood with that person. But now you leave school and it follows you because it goes all over the world. People you don't even know even come in and say ugly, mean, hateful things to you. They learn stuff about you. They come in your inbox. It's like if you pick up your phone, you don't disconnect from it. And kids, are drawn to technology. So yeah, they can reach them. Now, when I go home and close my door in my bedroom, you're still bullying me. You're still harassing me. You've even got other people involved in it. That's a lot for a youth or teenager to deal with when they emotionally are not intelligent where they need to be yet to deal with that in another way other than to lash out or to fight, or some example they've seen on a video or heard in music where I need to fight this person, cut this person, shoot this person. That's how I need to express how you make me feel.
Well, now, Felicia, for any parents or educators or youth advocates who might be listening or watching us, what signs should they look for that creative outlets like the theater might help the teens that they're responsible for, be it at church, be it in the youth community organization, be it parents or even educators? What signs should they look for that say, oh, maybe let's see if this person is creative, and maybe that would be a way for them to be able to manage more some of the things that are occurring with them?
Well, the first and most important thing I think is to, if you happen to notice, something about them, maybe they're withdrawn or maybe they are lashing out, maybe they're looking angry, they're sitting back really subtle. First thing first is, how about you approach them with a smile and have a conversation? Let's do that. Let's talk to them about what's going on with them. Maybe ask them things to try to find out what their interests are. Hey, how are things going in school? Well, what are your favorite subjects in school? Well, do you like? They may say, well, I like English, or I like to read. So what are some things that you've read? And when you're talking about that, hey, well, have you ever thought about maybe writing a play about that? Have you thought about maybe writing a book about that? And so that can open that up. You can even say, hey, how about we go to the museum one day? Do you like to go to the museum? Let's do that. Or, we've got this event going on with my group or my organization, and we're going to have this author there that writes the same kind of books that you like. How about we go do that? And so that begins to make them feel like, well, first of all, maybe it's an adult I can trust. And then maybe it's an adult that understands me. And maybe I can actually open up to them. And then once you do that, they may say, hey, look, I wrote this. We went to that event and this is what I did because of that event. And just encourage them. But first and foremost, talk to them so you can find out what their areas of interest are. And then you take the unique approach to see how you can turn that into something that they can use to show their feelings and emotions.
Felicia, you started out and you just ended again about smiling and sit down and having a conversation with them. Why do you think, because I don't have children, so why do you think that is so hard for parents or educators or youth advocates to do?
I think what makes it so difficult is, first of all, us knowing how the proper way to communicate on that child's level. We forget that we were one step. You have to remember what you thought and felt when it was you, first of all. And now that you're so mature and you're so grown, oh, that just sounds so silly to me. But remember, when you were young, it wasn't silly to you. And you said it and expressed it the way you knew how. Meet them at their level so that you can talk to them. And depending on how much they can handle, you may have to be a little more transparent and relate to them through your own past experiences. Don't be ashamed or afraid to do that. You need to do that so they can say, well, maybe she does understand where I'm coming from. And then also you share something with them and they be like, oh, you, Miss Felicia, oh my gosh. And so now they think we got this secret together. We got this thing. And so that begins to create a relationship. And that may make it easier for you to talk when you see that you cause that person to relax and open up and talk to you because they felt they could trust you. Go back to when you were that age or you were that young. Remember what it felt like. Remember how you really wanted to tell somebody something that was going on, but you were afraid because they might tell it and then they get back to mommy and daddy. Or remember how you felt when you did find that person and they never said a word and they were an adult. That was your safe space. So you should do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That includes our youth and teens.
Oh, now that's a word, Felicia. It does include the youth and teen. Now, Felicia, what have been some of the most surprising, maybe, or even touching responses from youth or audience member who've seen the Brownie or who have read Sister Nadine's Ways?
I think for me, the biggest thing is when they say, I can relate to that. I know somebody just like this in this book. When it comes to the production, people that say, I sat in that audience and intermission came and I didn't even want to get up. I was so drawn in. I was just so waiting for the next thing to happen. And I looked at that and I thought, that's me. And they got to see it played out. Again, see yourself from the other side. Also, the gratefulness of the attendees of the production that we had social workers there. The intensity of the scenes require that we even say it. If you are triggered by this scene, we're going to take this intermission. We have social workers that you can go and talk to in a private area or private setting to help you through that, because it's not only heavy for the audience, it's heavy for us. We just wrapped rehearsal a little bit ago, and we were talking about this scene that I say we have taken it to a whole nother level emotionally. And as I talked about it and shared it with them, you could just feel it. Everybody was like, whoa, whoa, that's going to be, Felicia, that's going to be it. Yes, it's heavy for me trying to say it to you and to picture it and run it through my head as of what this scene is about to say. And somebody, one of the cast members says, but it happens. It's real. It really happens in families. So the emotional, the gut punch, the way it grabs you in your gut, that that part right there.
Now
It's,
you
it's really
now, Felicia, now you intrigued the audience. Now you alluded to you guys were rehearsing. When is the next production going to be shown?
the production date does the encore performance May the 3rd at Hines Community College in Raymond, Mississippi. At 3:30, we have, as you know, we usually have a little get together. So from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for our VIP guests and our sponsors, we will have a cast meet and greet. So you'll get to meet these individuals that are going to go on stage and play these roles. You'll get your playbill signed by them, and maybe you'll get a chance to kind of talk to them a little bit about their character. We'll also have the comedian Rita Brent that's going to stop by because she is our intermission entertainment. Because we're going to need a little, even though some laughter in the play, you might need a little bit more, 2 or 3 of these scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know the play, The Brown and Unforgettable Trip, and now she's saying that she done added something else to it. So I can only imagine, because if they said it was heavy, then I can kind of feel the heaviness when you were describing. Oh,
it's so mind blowing to me. When my AD and I came up with it, I sat back and said, man, do we really want to do this? And he was like, we got to do this. And I said, I may have to seriously get you security because this is a triggering. This is a triggering thing. And he already plays a role where the last time we did this production, he played the father of the young lady that's having the struggles. And so it was personal for him because he has a daughter that had those same struggles. And so what people didn't see is when the curtain closed, the reason it took us a little longer to come back is because she was crying. The cast member here was crying. He was sitting in the middle of the stage crying, trying to pull himself back together. Other cast members behind the curtain crying. Yeah.
So now he plays Kenny?
He plays Kenny. He plays the father. And so he's the father of Anne. And, she's the one that has the struggles. And it was personal for him, again, because he's the father of 5 girls. And he has one that has that struggle. So for him to have to recreate that and play that out and, relive that moment was a lot for him. Then he turns around and plays the role of a very aggressive man that is an abuser. Yeah. And the person that he plays this role with is his actual family member that he loves dearly. So here we were back again. She had to come out to say to him when we closed the curtain, I'm okay. I'm okay. You didn't hurt me. He said it just messed me up to do this to her. But I understand that it is a production. But we had to take that break. And now we've added this third thing that in my gut, I just like, oh my God, this is so heavy, but it happens. And so how does the youth or teen, male or female, tell somebody that? How do they tell you about this nightmare that just occurred to them that they're carrying, trying to deal with every day, afraid to say, but want to say, and can't tell anybody? And so because I can't tell anybody and I'm hurt, I'm shamed, I'm angry, I'm going to lash out because that's all I can do. I can't even say the words to you as of what that person did to me. I'm so ashamed by it. So how do I let you know something going on? I act out because I can't tell you what they did to me. I'm too embarrassed. Or you might blame me. So in a way, I'm afraid.
Well,
so this is going to be the cast was just like, whoa, whoa.
Well, guys, I'm not in on the secret. Now, I have an idea, but I'm not going to give it away because it could be the right thing. I have an
Yeah,
idea
yeah.
that,
It's gonna
how
be.
can I say
Mm,
it? I have an idea that
mm,
we might be finding out a reason behind some of this behavior
mm,
uh, that my daughter has.
mm,
And it could be because, guys, I'm speculating because you really need to get to this play. It could be because of somebody that came in to see
mm,
mama and they got
mm,
carried away. They thought
mm,
they could just see everybody while they
mm.
was there.
Everybody while they was there, huh? Thought they could see everybody.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, the devil, the devil literally sits on the couch and gives them this great idea, he thinks. And they catch that idea and entertain it for a little bit and traumatize and devastate lives.
Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Felicia, I
yeah.
tell you, that Brown, it really is an unforgettable trip. I tell you, it gives,
Most
it gives, it
definitely.
keeps giving. It keeps giving.
Most definitely. It is.
Well, um, your journey has been has been phenomenal. You know, you've earned accolades, not just as an author, but, as a screenwriter and an advocate. And your journey is so inspiring. What advice do you have for individuals who face trauma but are looking to turn their pain into purpose?
I would say, first of all, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. Ask yourself, can I share part of this? And will I ever get to the point that I can share all of it? Am I really ready to pull back the blinds on this and share with people what was going on with me, even partially? Because once you open that up in some type creative form or the platform that you choose, are you ready for the questions? Because you have to be a person, you have to be authentic in order to help somebody else. You are going to have to open up. So you have to ask yourself, are you ready to do that? Because you can't help Susan when she think you just made that up, but you really don't know. You don't really know what this feels like. You don't really know what I thought. You don't really know why I really want to try to kill myself, do you? You just wrote a book and made up something. You ain't even, I can read this book, it ain't even got no real emotion in it. So are you ready to do that? Find that out first before you even choose a creative platform or how you want to talk about what's going on. Are you really ready? Because at some point you may have to say, yeah, I trusted him. He was my friend. And I went over there and he sexually assaulted me from 11 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning. He did that to me. And if my sister hadn't come to save me, I still may have been there. And no, I couldn't tell my mother. My mother left this world not knowing her daughter had been sexually assaulted. And if you can't do what I just did, you ain't ready.
And Felicia, thank you for sharing your truth. I wasn't expecting that. But in my
Right.
mind, what I was hearing was, don't say my name that way. Don't say
I
my name
tell
that
my
way.
husband
Because
that
you said
all
that.
the
Because
time.
you said,
I
because
tell
I'm
him that
talking about what you
all the
said.
time.
You said to me previously in the interview, you told her, don't say my name that way.
That way. You trigger something in me, you won't feel to grab me. Say my name like that. That little girl comes rushing out the door, terrified, just like she was before. That little girl is struggling in her mind again, just like she was before, when the person she trusted pinned her down, slapped her all night, abused her, bruised her, and said he did so because he didn't like your boyfriend and he hoped that your boyfriend saw. But I got to go home to my mama and I can't tell my mama because not only would she blame me, she might actually hurt you. And I made a promise to myself that day. She'll never know it. She'll leave here and not know. And that's exactly what happened. I wouldn't even hurt her that way. In a way, I had to protect her, me, and him. And I really didn't want to protect him.
Mhm.
So,
And you know, Felicia, not sorry, not to interrupt, but that's so important because lots of times when we've been traumatized, we protect our parents.
right,
We,
right,
we don't want them to think bad of us, and we don't want to
right,
lose our parents.
right.
So we endure the pain in
That's
silence.
right. Right. I didn't even tell my father. I wouldn't. It would have devastated him, and he might have been the one to go around there. You know, it was so many reasons why I couldn't. I wanted to, but it was so many reasons I couldn't. You know, and yeah, that on top of all these other things that I'm dealing with. So, how do I help heal me? How do I help be this whole person my husband believed he married? You know, I would tell people sometime I came down the aisle and my husband didn't know I was carrying all this trauma with me. But when I married him, you know, he found out when you got to come get, I always say he would come and get me out of my nightmares at night. So, how do I deal with this? Do I treat him bad? Am I offish with him? Do I scream and treat other people mean and ugly? And, you know, do I just carry this? No, I released it once before onto the pages of a diary. So I can release it again and use fiction to also help me be brave enough to release it. I always say it's like a big pan of macaroni and cheese, and my truths are sprinkled through that. And everybody might say, well, I don't always like to read a book. Okay, well, let's take it to the stage. And maybe you'd like to be entertained and see it on stage. Enhanced times 10.
Mm-hmm. Well, Felicia,
I
thank
know.
you for sharing your truth, helping us to understand how you kept your promise to yourself that your mother
Yeah,
never knew, because I know that she is now transitioned and she never knew. But I do believe she we know she was proud of you. But now she knows because she's up in heaven so she can see and hear stuff. And she's like, my daughter. I had
yeah.
no idea about how proud I am of my daughter. And she's doing all of this work to help other families, to help other children who have been experiencing things and they didn't feel they had anybody they could talk to. That's
Exactly.
my daughter.
That's it. That's Sarah's daughter.
That's Sarah's daughter.
Sarah's daughter.
I missed out being a sponsor this time, but I really like your mission. How can I contact you to see how I can help you to empower these teens?
I would appreciate that because we do have the new 501c3, the nonprofit organization that I've started called Safe Space. So you can contact me at author Felicia Brookins at gmail.com. Just put sponsorship or inquiry and I will definitely get back with you. I forgot to mention too, with the books, you can go onto Amazon.com to order the books. I can send you an Ingram Sparks link, or you can go on to Books a Million to order the book, to order the trilogy. And I'm also available for booking to discuss that series that I have published, that award-winning series. And I would love to be to come out and talk to book club members about the different platforms in the book. I will also go ahead and just add this quick shout out. It seems that the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Jackson Clinton Alumni Chapter will be the first of our BGLOs, and I will have opportunity at the end of May to go and talk with them about this trilogy. So I am really looking forward to that. So just hit me up, send me an email, or if you are friends with me and connect on Instagram or Facebook, for Arthur Felicia Brookins, just follow me, inbox me, and we'll work it out.
Well, congratulations, Felicia, on
Thank
the
you.
501c3. Congratulations on having the book club meetings. Now, will you do those virtually if people are not in the area? Would you do
I
the book?
will. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Most
Well,
definitely.
I figured you would.
I most definitely will.
I figured you would. Well, Felicia, I love our time together and I love your transparency and I love your work and your heart for
Thank
helping
you.
everyone deal with their trauma, but particularly our teens, because we have to start somewhere. And
Mhm.
as people of color, they are our future. And so we've got to now start making sure that they're able to manage their lives and their next generations appropriately. And so I love this idea of empowering them. And again, Felicia, you know, you're always welcome to come back
Thank you.
To the show anytime. And to those who joined us, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Talk with TAS. And until next time, before you go try to take care of somebody else, please make sure you take care of yourself first. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.